So a couple of tools and resources. I mentioned the close plan. So this close plan is designed to help you. These are just examples.
So,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
question, sorry for interrupting you. I
No,
tried to
man.
put it in the chat. I mean, what happens if you realize that on the demo, suddenly you have three more people, because usually they work at the same place. How to handle, what should you do to stall that or put something that, so you have control over the whole situation because you don't know what type of problem the other ones have. What should one do? Sorry for interrupting. Yeah?
No, that's a really great question. I'm glad that you asked it because that will happen as well. Like you set the meeting with one person and then might have forwarded it to other people internally. You didn't know they were going to be there, and all of a sudden these people show up. So one of the things that I do, it's again slow as smooth, and smooth as fast. You're like, great. So John, thanks for inviting all your colleagues here. I'm really, really excited to have them here, just to help me so that as I'm showing the product, I understand what perspectives I might want to talk through about the product. Can we just go through the room really quickly again to make sure I get everybody's name and their title? Okay, this is John Smith. He's head of security. Okay, cool. This is Mary Jones. She's our CTO. Cool. This is Mike Kelly. He's our CEO. Okay, awesome. So I've got that. So I've got Joan, I got Mike, I got John. Right, cool. This is where the situation slide becomes really critical. Because in the demo, before we're showing the product, we can go, great. So just to catch you guys up, John, Mike, and Mary, I've already talked to so-and-so who set up this meeting. And in the course of our early conversations, he shared with me the critical business issue here at your company is this. And the reason that exists is because of these things. And our capabilities to solve that problem are this. And the delta in solving this problem is $10 million. Is that consistent with your point of view? And they're going to have to go, yeah, he told you everything. He nailed it. That's our problem. Or they're going to go, well, yeah, that's pretty close. But actually, the real big problem here is this or that. Oh, okay. So the critical business issue is kind of this, but it's actually that. Great. Let me update the slide right now. And that's why the situation slide is such a great mechanism, because it's almost like a forced step before you jump into the demo to make sure we're all on the same page about what the business problem is, and giving almost like demanding interaction. Because then if you need to adjust what you're showing on the demo based on the new information that goes on that slide, now you can make sure that whoever's in the room is going to see the demo that's most relevant for them. So it's really a function of, if you're doing demos the right way by starting with the situation slide, then what you're doing is tacitly giving yourself permission to make sure that before we proceed with the demo, let's make sure we're all on the same page. And Katerina's asking, would you actually update the situation slide live while you're sharing the screen? Yes, because it's a way, it's another soft contract. It's like, okay, so I wrote that the critical business issue was that you guys are one of your biggest problems here is that you're losing X amount of dollars in lost revenue because you're putting the stores in the wrong place. Is that right? And they go, no, actually the real problem here is that it's a cost. It's not a revenue. It's not that so much we care about revenue. It's that we want to save on cost because right now we're spending a ton of money on market research. We're spending $500,000 per year on market research, and we don't really know what we're getting for that. And if we could, get rid of that cost, that would be really huge for us. Oh, okay, cool. Critical business issue is want to reduce costs around market research. And so what you're doing is they're going like, yes, that is the problem. And that's the soft contract to make sure now they've agreed that's the critical business issue. So yes, I would absolutely update it live. Absolutely. So Demetrius and Katerina, did I answer both of your questions? We good? So it just goes back to slowing it down. There's always this tendency to rush, and you're like, I'm a little bit nervous and I want to get through it. I want to wow, we got the CEO. I want to show him what we've got. But at the end of the day, if we're not really hitting on those core pains, we haven't identified that issue, we haven't really understood what it is, why we're there in the first place, then it doesn't even make sense to show the demo. Otherwise, we're going to be out of control. And they go, okay, that sounds good. We'll get back to you. And you're like, no, wait, I need to understand more about your situation. Like, well, okay, great. You can round up with John afterwards, but we got to go. But if instead we start with the needs, make sure that we're demoing and showing how our product fills that need, then we can be sure that we're always going to be in control of that next step. So I hope that answers your question. Let me know if not. So a couple of the resources that you can use here, the close plan is something that just divides up those 4 major stages of the sale. And what I found is that a lot of times there's little mini steps, almost like a checklist for each. And I put in some examples here, but you can kind of make this your own for your company. So this was an example that I used if I was selling data or analytics to a large company, big enterprise sale, 100K, 500K. I would say, look, in the needs analysis stage, I got to do these 4 things. In the evaluation of option stage, I got to do these 4 things. In the sales stage 3, I got to do these 4 things. And then implementation, I got to do these 4 things. And so what this does, it gives me a way to know like how I'm going to future pace to people and say, look, here we are in needs analysis, but I know at some point I'm going to do a test file or a pilot program. So early on, let me make sure in the needs analysis phase, like, great, sounds like you guys have a big need. The next step would be for us to do a demo so I can show you specifically how our product solves that problem. And a lot of times after those demos, for those clients that are really excited about what we do, we often look at pilot programs, putting together a quick pilot for people. So now I future pace, but it's because I have visibility of what I know should be the right steps along the way. I'm pacing them based on the markers in that path that I'm setting forth. So this close plan worksheet, I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of it. A couple other places on the member site, there's a whole section on sales email strategies and templates. So we talked about the 9-word email, talked about the soft contract template, all that stuff. I'll make sure that you guys get links so you can just log in and grab all that stuff. Here's the soft contract template I mentioned. There's a little presentation I did describing that in more detail, just that one piece of this momentum maintainer. Let's see what else. Here's some more pipeline pull-through strategy stuff, and there's the link to the conversation with Matt Harrell. So those are just some of the resources. Like I said, I'm gonna send these out to make sure you just have direct links to all of those things. You don't have to go searching around for them too much. A couple of homework assignments. One is to write out and send out a soft contract. So if you've had a recent kind of big meeting, whether it's early stage needs analysis or demo or kind of like later stage, go ahead and write and send out a soft contract. Use that template that we just talked about. Send it out to somebody and go, hey, we just had this meeting 3 days ago. I was organizing my notes and I realized these are all the things we talked about. Did I get that right? So that's an easy thing that you can use right away with a certain sales opportunity. If you've got some deals that are stalled in your pipeline and you're looking to kind of breathe new life into them, draft and send a couple 9-word emails. Super simple technique. You can rip through a bunch of these in like 30 minutes. You can do like 1 a minute. Just go figure out who's a stalled deal from last year or last quarter, or even right now, you've got a deal that's been stalled for a couple of weeks. Somebody told you at the end of April, like, hey, we're going to meet in the first week of May. Now you're trying to get back in touch with them with emails and calls. They're not getting back to you. Even a couple of weeks is okay to use this 9-word email. So send a couple of those. And the last thing I would say is look at what are your open loops. So going into whatever meeting or whatever step, think about going into that meeting. What are the open loops that you should be introducing to people so that you can future pace, so that you can use casting to your advantage, so that you can use some soft contracts.